Thorian's words were firm and thunderous, each syllable carrying the weight of authority. General Lewis felt the pressure of his presence, furrowing his brows slightly, but he quickly regained his composure. He glanced at the so-called evidence scattered on the floor, showing neither panic nor guilt. Instead, he spoke with indifference. "Young Prince, the people who died were nothing but ants. Are you really making such a fuss over this? Don't tell me you've never taken a few lives yourself? There's a saying, climbing the ranks and gaining wealth go hand in hand." He had fought tooth and nail to rise to his current position, all for the sake of living above the common folk. Everyone had their own desires. Some sought fame, others wealth. Some were greedy for money, some for women, while others craved power and the feeling of being worshipped. Achieving those ambitions inevitably required doing things that couldn't see the light of day. That was simply the unspoken rule. All officials were the same, so he didn't see anything wrong with his actions. Ants? Thorian let out a cold snort. Without these so-called ants supporting you, do you think you'd be living in luxury today? You abuse your power for your own pleasure. If I let you live, won't everyone else follow your example? And let me make one thing clear. I may have been reckless in the past, but I have never wantonly taken innocent lives. Just because you haven't done it doesn't mean others won't, General Lewis replied flatly. Look at all of West Lacosia. How many officials do you think are truly clean? If you investigate carefully, I guarantee that at least 90% of them have dirty hands. By your logic, are you going to execute them all? Can you even manage that? First of all, not all officials are as corrupt as you. Second, if they truly are, then I'll deal with every single one of them. Does that answer satisfy you? Thorian's tone was ice cold. General Lewis narrowed his eyes, a sharp glint flashing within them. So what you're saying is, there's no room for discussion today. Having spent years as a general in West Lacosia, he had always ensured he had a way out. If things really came to a dead end, he could simply flee West Lacosia and continue living a life of luxury elsewhere. Discussion? Thorian sneered. I didn't summon you here to negotiate. I called you here to make you confess and submit. Confess? Ha ha! General Lewis suddenly let out a loud, mocking laugh. I have fought countless battles, conquered every enemy in my path, and sent tens of thousands of souls to the underworld. And now you want me to confess over killing a few worthless commoners? What a joke! As his laughter faded, he stood up abruptly, his expression fierce. Reese Brat! When I was fighting for West Lacosia's territory, you weren't even born yet. And now, a spoiled noble brat like you thinks you have the right to lecture me? If your father came in person, maybe I'd listen. Now that all pretense had been dropped, he no longer held back his words. To him, this inexperienced young noble had no right to pass judgment on him. If he was in a good mood, he might humor him. But if not, fists and blades would settle things. After all, the prince was already on his deathbed. What was there to be afraid of? What's this? Are you planning to rebel? Thorian asked coldly. And what if I am? General Lewis stomped his foot, instantly causing the ground to sink by a full foot. The entire council chamber trembled violently. A terrifying pressure filled the air, freezing everything in place. The temperature in the room dropped sharply, and even the air itself felt thick and suffocating. Clang! 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 Led by William, the elite enforcers immediately drew their swords. At the same time, soldiers hidden in the shadows rushed out in force. Half of them surrounded General Lewis, while the other half formed a protective barrier around Thorian. Brat! Do you really think a few personal guards can stop me? What a joke! General Lewis swept his gaze around the room, his face full of contempt. Back in my prime, I could charge through an entire army alone. Do you really think a few hundred men can take me down? Thorian smirked. I know you're formidable. That's why I added 10 fragrant soft tendon powder to your tea earlier. His voice was casual, as if discussing the weather. This poison is colorless and tasteless. If you don't use your internal energy, you won't even notice it. But the moment you try to summon your strength, the poison will activate. Within 1 cup of tea's time, your limbs will weaken, and you won't even be able to lift a finger. 10 fragrant soft tendon powder? General Lewis's expression changed. You despicable bastard! You actually dared to poison me? And you call yourself the prince's son, have you no shame? Thorian remained unfazed. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Besides, I've never claimed to be a righteous man, why would I care about honor? You! General Lewis was livid. He tried to move, only to find his body growing unnaturally heavy, as if filled with lead. The powerful energy coursing through his veins slowed, turning thick like mercury, impossible to gather. 10 fragrant soft tendon powder was a rare toxin specifically designed to incapacitate martial arts masters. It wasn't lethal, but within moments, it would render even the strongest warrior completely powerless. Take him down! Seeing the perfect opportunity, William gave the order, and his men immediately charged forward.
And just can't accept it. This can't be the end yet. You promised to never leave, and now you're gone. Can't believe I can feel the world slipping away as you slowly fade from my everyday. You promised forever a love without end, but now I'm left broken, struggling to mend. I thought we were so tied, destined for a lifetime, love with no end, love with no end. Staying in my imagination, memorizing the past time, the secrets, the love, the care, now they're echoes in the air. I still see your face in every place, feel your warmth, your gentle grace.